some things haven't gone away. Because as it was in the End SARS protest, so it seems to have been in the hashtag endbadgovernance protests. Should I say protests or should I say riots? First, let's look at some of the similarities between End SARS and endbadgovernance. Number one, it had a big scale, large scale, and it was driven by youth. Secondly, it started peacefully, and then it was infiltrated, and it was turned into something riotous. It happened both times. You also wonder why there was no one ready to negotiate with the authorities. An olive branch was held out. There were signals that the government was ready to discuss with the leaders of the protest, at least the leaders of the legitimate protest, but nobody came forward. At the end of it all, in both, we now have people locked up. People locked up. We don't even know whether or not these are people who deserve to be locked up, but we have people locked up for exercising, as it were, their democratic rights. So what are some of the differences? Endbadgovernance was very different to End SARS in that it was now possible to show it to be a national movement. End SARS looked like a Southwest issue, that they are the ones who have an issue with the police. In the North, we don't have that issue. Our issue is with the army, for instance. And now we end up with some citizens being charged with treason. Treason. Okay, what could have brought on the treason charge? Number one, the waving of a Russian flag. And also, people calling for the military to take over. I'm not sure they even know what they were even asking for. I don't think they know the implications of that. But the truth is the issues remain. We've removed fuel subsidy. Many of us agree that the fuel subsidy regime was a fraud, a big fraud, because fuel subsidy has not really gone away. It's now different. It has morphed. Secondly, Forex regime. We were told, oh, it's because of the handling of the Forex, that's why the country was in the mess it was. But now we're in an even bigger mess called inflationary pressures. And the inflationary pressures are threatening to kill us. However, did we need to deal with the Forex regime? Yes. Again, per capita, Nigeria has one of the lowest tax collections in the world. So yes, we do need to do something about funding governance and funding our government. Yes, that is true. And for paying for public services, that is true. So what are these things that are worth protesting about? Number one is injustice. Why would you ask me to swallow a bitter pill, but you won't open your own mouth? You will not take the pill. If our leaders continue to live in affluence, but expect everyone else to tighten their belts, that is injustice. Second thing is a lack of vision. If the vision is known only by the leaders, then it's not a shared vision. You say it will be better. By when? You say it's for our good. In what ways? So that we can brace ourselves. And it's a shame, really, on the opposition. This is what the PDP should be debating with the government. What the Labour Party should be debating with the government. Another thing is the lack of sacrifice from our leaders. You tell us that we should tighten our belts and it's a time for sacrifice. You go home with anything between 15 million naira and 20 million naira every month. When are you going to tighten your own belt to? Because if everybody took a pay cut of 50%, they did so in the Senate, they did so in the Federal House of Representatives and all the state assemblies, we will have 7 to 10 billion every single month for you to sit with the people in a town hall meetings where we then decide on the priorities. Right now, what people are lacking is food. So what can we do in each area to reduce the scarcity of food? And you cannot do that for 9 months consecutively without people's fortunes changing. So what is the way forward? The way forward is in us realizing that there's a big difference between a protest and a riot. We don't want any more riots. What we want is the exercise of our voice. So how do you express your voice without it resulting in a riot? Work with the police. All over the world, organized protests and protesters actually work with the police as much as possible. I accept it's not always possible. But if we all come out, like the 3 million people standing in a specific spot in Abuja, 3 million people in Onitsha, 3 million people in Lagos, without doing anything, just coming out en masse and saying, we are not happy about these things, is already an expression of voice. So finally, we who are protesting should change our strategy. Why are we not doing letter writing campaigns to all our leaders, state assembly leaders, National Assembly leaders, telling them exactly what we need to improve our lives, and then holding them to it and making sure that they're not comfortable when they come back to their constituencies if they're not doing the wishes of the people who put them in office. It's not just the president, it's not just the governor, it's not just the local government chairman. We need to hold our leaders to account at this time. I remember that there was one Frank Kokori who ran the labor movement during the Abacha regime. I think his engagement with the government was so exemplary that the people were inspired by labor. Labor was not just about workers. Labor was about the people. Thank you.